verse number 8 onwards. Bheda bhavanat sohamityasau bhavana bhida pavani mata bhava shunya sat bhava sustiti bhavana valat bhaktiruttama hृत्स्थले mana swastata kriya bhakti yogavo dhasya nishchitam vayurodhanat liyate mana chala pakshivat rodha sadhanam chitta vayava chitkriya shakhayodvayi shakti mulaka chitta vayava chitkriya shakhayodvayi shakti mulaka. After discussing the benefits of pranayama, now here in this verse, chitta vayavaha chitkriya yudaha shakhayadvayi shakti mulaka. Here beautifully the example of bird is being given to explain how the mind is connected to vital energy called prana. Because if you observe, the bird to fly needs both the wings. If the one wing is strong and other wing is weaker, definitely that bird will not be able to fly properly. And of course, to navigate, other factors are involved. That's why this aeroplane has been made just by observing the bird, nothing else. It is just a replica of bird. So here beautifully says that if we observe our prana and mind means that the thinking faculty, where we have this ability to know and ability to act, both Ichha Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Because actually we have three types of Shaktis. One is Jnana Shakti also. Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti and Kriya Shakti. So here strictly highlighting that here mind has got Ichha Shakti, desire to know, ability to know. So when he says ability to know, ability to desire, ability to wish, now whatever wish comes, now the same mind wants to execute. So in order to execute that, need the help of prana shakti. Unless there is prana shakti, the vital energy, definitely mind cannot execute. Only mind will keep wandering. That's why we call as hallucination. That is how we call as wild imagination. Sometimes out of this hallucination or wild imagination, helplessness take over. Especially the best example I always look at when your health is not good. So when your health is not good, but weather is excellent. You want to go out, but body doesn't cooperate. In fact, you cannot go out, you cannot execute. Then what happens? The irritation is 100%. That's why if you observe the person who is having fever, that person gets irritated unnecessarily. I have seen it many occasions, because any time when you have fever, appa only irritation, nothing else. And the worst part is no taste, nothing. So the taste bud also goes away. So at least there is nothing to cherish. Then what to do? Only you, if you are in a better position, you start scolding everybody. If you are in lesser position, of course, you keep quiet. There is no choice for you. So coming back here, so when we look at that, these two aspects of the mind, ability to desire and ability to execute. So now, in order to ability to execute, because if it is not able to execute, will not desire either. How long can you keep desiring? Just try. As you know, mind is exactly like a child. Child needs attention. All mothers are very capable of handling child, but not able to handle themselves. That's the problem. The child will be calling mother, mother, mother. But very well, mother knows when to respond and when not to respond. In fact, mother knows what for this fellow is calling. In fact, I was shocked and surprised to know. Once long back, I said, the child is crying, please take care, maybe the child needs some food. What are you doing? The lady said, Swamiji, you don't understand, that fellow is making just noise to draw the attention. Because the mother knows what sort of cry is out of hunger, what sort of cry is because wants to sleep, and what sort of cry also for attention, for outsider, for a father or anybody outsider. All our babies cry are one and same. But mother understands the subtle difference. Please understand, this is a very important thing to note. And if you observe, the point is here, if the child keeps crying, to get the attention, to draw the attention, and if mother does not respond, what happens to the mind? You'll be shocked and surprised to know that the child will go to sleep. So if it happens with reference to child, same thing also happens with reference to mind. The ability to desire, when he is not able to execute, that ability to execute becomes weaker. Then what happens? Instead of mind going to sleep mode, please understand, it goes to depression mode. This is the difference. So depression is nothing. This is the exactly called depression. You understand? The moment mind is not or loses the strength to execute. So instead of looking at the desire part, that ability to desire, why? Because remember, first ability to know, then only desire. But the problem is ability to know we don't develop. Only ability to desire. Ability to desire means what? Ability to possess. Ability to possess means what? Developing the sense of ownership. In fact, ability to desire is nothing strengthening enjoyership in you. And worst part is, you want to be an enjoyer, nothing wrong in it. But without doing a karta, without being a doer, that's the sad part. You want to enjoy everything without doing anything. Like we have a very beautiful saying, putting the hand in parent's pocket, you call yourself as independent. You understand? Putting hands in parent's pocket, you call yourself as an independent. What a ridiculous way of looking at one's own self. So here also, that when the ability to desire is based on or in keeping with ability to know, and of course ability to execute, then you will see harmony in your life. So even though the origin is one and same, remember, that's why it's Shakti Mulaka. This is one principle. But the division, 3 divisions. And here is being talked about 2 aspects. That ability to desire and ability to execute or work. So the both vital energy and thought thinking process. But we are taking one more step ahead. So when we look at this discriminative faculty, which actually navigates, based on that, both the things starts flopping, both the wings starts, flopping. But the problem is, all the time you keep flopping, but you do not know where to navigate. So where you start, again go around and come back, go around and come back. That means there is some defect in your engine, you understand? You take off some flights, you see, they take off and again come back. They do not know what to do. And especially learners, it's nice to watch this when they start learning flying, these pilots, how painful life, their life and others' life, those who watch also their life, okay? So same way it happens with reference to yourself. Just observe. So that's why what we need to do here is, when the ability to work is, let us say, affected or suppressed or influenced by various factors, starting with the outer surrounding, the external surrounding, and of course the internal surrounding. Both. Now, when this ability to work or execute is affected or influenced, you need to give more time to ability to know. But what happens? Generally, instead of going to ability to know, you get into ability to desire. So all your energy goes to ability to desire. So when you start, desiring and desiring, finally what happens? Either the mind will be hypertension, will go through this hypertension stage, or mind will go through the depression. That's why depression is nothing but another aspect of tamas. Please understand. The depression is nothing but another aspect of tamas. So whenever anybody says, because this psychological word called depression is not a good word at all. Means I am depressed. Why? Others are responsible. So this is called, psychological approach. Anything that has happened to me, others are responsible except me. What sort of psychology is this? Hey, anything it's happened or is happening to me, it is only me responsible, not others. See, everybody has got their own way of living, one of life, one way of functioning. But psychology very nicely says, that's why psychology does not help you completely. Remember, psychology only helps up to some extent. That's why one must not depend upon psychology. The problem is especially in West. People are more comfortable with psychology and psychologist than being comfortable with oneself. And who is a psychologist? Who had psychological problem? I am not telling you jokes. I have not come across a single psychologist in my life who didn't have psychological problem. Not didn't have, still also they have, okay, don't worry. And what problem they have now, of course they don't talk, because some of the cases I know very well, you cannot think of. Whether it's a clinical psychologist, psychopathologist, because you know all the psycho, real they are psychos, okay, on the top of it. Because they themselves will have problem. And the problem that they have, you cannot imagine. And of course they attribute. And how they guide, God only knows. But don't worry, people are comfortable. In fact, if I look at some of you are also comfortable, don't worry, okay? Sometimes it happens when I suggest something, some people, they don't listen. When a psychologist says, yeah. Okay, what can I do? Please continue. I wish you all the best. Coming back, that's not my topic today. Topic is here that when the what's going on today? Nowadays, so the ability to execute will be affected, will be influenced, will be suppressed because of many factors, and it is supposed to be affected. So when it gets affected, please, God's sake, try to strengthen the faculty of this ability to know. Then once you start, developing this faculty, you will discover that tamas will not take over. Because the first stage of tamas is justification. Please, it's a very serious point to observe. The moment you start justifying yourself, your activities, that is the beginning point of tamas. Because when you start justifying, that time the rajas is higher, you understand? So once this rajas is higher, then automatically what? It will fall down. Then once it falls down, what will happen? Tamas has to take over. That's why the moment you start justifying yourself or your activities, be careful, be alert. So that's why that is the time to change from justification to know. Maybe let me know. That's why we have beautiful sayings. Before trying to justify, try to put your leg in others' shoe. Before trying to justify, please put your leg in others' shoe. So that means what? Try to know. But if you do not do, what will happen? You will justify. Now, of course, time will come, justification will not have value. neither for others nor for you, both way. So when the justification will not have value for others, means will not create any difference to other person, the opposite person, and finally it will bounce back to you. That is how the logic. When the justification doesn't have any impact in other person, will it bounce back to you or not? Once it bounces back to you, then what happens? You don't have any other choice other than going through depression, what we call as tamas stage. So you become a perfect tamasic person, you understand? And the consequences of it, you can see this tamasic effect in your body. Body does not cooperate. Heaviness, pain, this, that, you understand what I am trying to say? Hey, that is how the mind functions. So that's why make sure there is balance. Okay. Now let's look at the next verse. Laya vinasane ubhayarodhane laya gatam puna bhavati no mrutam. Laya vinasane ubhayarodhane laya gatam puna bhavati no mrutam. So this is a very tricky verse. We have to give proper interpretation or else it's a very tricky verse. So if you look at, it says beautifully, so when the monolaya takes place, that means when the absorption of the mind takes place, and he says very good, not only that, monolaya and mononasa, the destruction of the mind. Laya, nasa. And he says what? He says beautifully, these are the form of controlling the mind. But remember, if it has gone through laya, means if the mind is absorbed, definitely again it will be born. Whereas, if the mind has become vinasha, destruction, that mind definitely cannot come back, means already resolved. That is what he tried to say. Because here you have to be very careful with the words. So there, here itself in this verse you can understand the lack of methodology of teaching is clearly reflected. But what does he mean here? That we need to really supply. He says that two aspects he highlights. Laya and vinasa. So absorption and destruction. It is not destruction. You cannot destroy your mind. Okay, who are you to destroy? There is nothing called vinasha. That is how Buddha also highlighted. This is all these are new age concept. What does Buddha said? So we said in Buddha's main topic is what? His main, let us say, USP. His USP was perfectly that desire is the cause of problem. Less desire, less problem. More desire, more problem. Because he highlighted destruction of the kamana is called nirvana. That was his USP. So destruction of desire is the destruction of all dukkha, sorrows. That was his USP. But is it true? All over the world go crazy. First of all, how can you destroy Kamana? How can you destroy desire? When you say destruction of all desire, that is itself is desire or not? And that too, destruction of the desire is the destruction of sorrows, worries and anxieties. That means to achieve that, is that not a desire? So that is how Buddha fooled the whole world and also till now fooling. But this is a very big market, please understand. That's why when they could not survive with that emptiness, now they have come to mindfulness, nuisanceness. What is this nonsense mindfulness? I don't understand till now. What is this mindfulness? Somebody asked me, Swamiji, do you practice or teach mindfulness? I said, yes, my mind is always full. So there is nothing called fullness, okay? Those who are only full, they practice mindfulness. Because I had to play with the words. I didn't have any other choice, okay? Of course, the person understood, okay? Then he said, oh, you are very critical. I said, yes, thank you. I love to be critical because I want to keep you people away from me. That's why I'm critical. Not that because my way of handling is, be critical to keep others away so that you don't have to get rid of a person. The person himself or herself will run away from you. But these are the tricks, okay? Because these are the tricks I handle, okay, for myself. Okay, coming back. This word he has used, vinasha, because he did not go through proper teaching. I'm sorry to say. Because as you know the background, we have discussed. In his childhood, he had some death experience. So because he had near to death experience, I am using very carefully, near to death experience, he wanted to repeat it. Because he was more experience oriented. That is how he did it. He came to Tiruvannamalai, Arunachaleswar. Inside the campus, those days there was no restriction, nothing. So there was, as you enter right hand side, called Patalalingam. Now it has been renewed and nicely it has been done. So it was abandoned place. He sat over there. So he wanted to repeat that experience, please understand. And of course through that he got into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, if you want to technically talk. That Nirvikalpaka Samadhi was extended for a long time. So he has come to the point here. That means the Nirvikalpaka Samadhi is the destruction, technically what he means. So if we want to say Savikalpaka Samadhi is lawyer and Nirvikalpaka Samadhi is called Vinasa according to him. Please understand, if we talk like this, then it is a disaster. Anybody getting into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi does not mean that you will be able to solve all your problem or you are enlightened. Nirvikalpaka Samadhi has nothing to do with enlightenment, okay? I am making it very clear today. Nirvikalpaka Samadhi is a very good experience to strengthen your knowledge. But it never gives knowledge. Because really, it is very good. I will request if anybody can go through, it's a real nice thing to go through. It gives that strength. That Nirvikalpaka Samadhi can happen few hours, few days. It can happen anytime. It is a continuous process, no doubt. It is very nice. I am not denying that there is no role of Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. But Nirvikalpaka Samadhi itself is not everything. So that's why we have to take it very carefully, this verse. Let us not get into the controversial aspect. When he says that there is one thing is, you try to control, suppress your mind, including going to Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. I am taking what he was putting in positive way, I am putting in negative way. Including getting into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, still it will come back. And one of the best example, I am not giving you, there are hundreds of examples. There are documentaries, movies, this and that, many things. Let us not talk. One of the best example we bring as Vishwamitra, which is free from controversy, because if you talk that, nobody can say anything. We have all the examples which is completely copyright free. You understand? So Vishwamitra, such a great personality. What he did do, he got everything. But still, he time to time got carried away. That's the most important point to note. His ego, whether Trishanku provoked him, one of the king, provoked him, he could give all his tapas. Whether Menoka, one of the lady, provoked, and he got carried away. In fact, indirectly, if you look at the India name Bharata, is related to Vishwamitra. Lot of linkage there with Vishwamitra. What we call India as Bharata, because India only became India because of this East India Company, okay? That's why the India was adopted by Mahatma Gandhi, again that fellow. Every problem that fellow has made. You cannot think of the destruction that fellow did, because without bringing him, my food is not digested, okay? My class is not complete, that's my problem. And the present Prime Minister, another stupid fellow now, I'm sorry to say. When he was a chief minister, he never talked about Mahatma Gandhi. Never. In fact, he used to criticize. Now, after becoming prime minister, he tried to talk little bit against. Then he understood, whole world started attacking him. Now, only he talks of Mahatma Gandhi. Because the whole world knows, India means Mahatma Gandhi. Rabindranath, knowledgeable person means Rabindranath Tagore. That fellow was crazy, as you know. And another lady, India knows, that is called Mother Teresa. The whole world only looks at India means what? These three categories, three fellows. And of course, diplomat-wise, prime minister-wise, Nehru. Hey, these idiots don't belong to India at all. That's why we want Bharata. Bharata has got a meaning, not India. Based on East India Company, now India is being named. Will you accept it? And we call us, hey, father of nation. What a ridiculous way of looking at it. We call country as mother. We, in an Indian concept, Bharata Mata, our country is mother. And Mahatma Gandhi becomes father of nation. You understand? If you have common, little bit knowledge, will you accept it? Anyway, let me not get into, because this is a completely entire topic for me, because you know, I have my own problem, okay? Maybe who knows, I was, like last life, previous life, I was with Mahatma Gandhi, who knows? So that's why all my hatred, frustrations comes out, possible, okay? Because without that, because in my childhood, I was very much fan of Mahatma Gandhi. I was a great admirer of him. No doubt in it. Childhood, teenage, later on, everything got spoiled, because as I started studying more and more about him, disaster for me. However, coming back, That's why whenever I see anybody talks about Mahatma Gandhi, to be very honest, I say that fellow is really stupid. Whoever talks in the world, person does not know anything, really must be a stupid person. This is my conclusion, okay? And I can prove it. However, let us not. Lawyer, with this I'll finish it. Oh, I'm sorry, already I have crossed the time. Lawyer and Vinas. If the mind is under suppression in any condition, why not Nirvikalpak Samadhi? If it's under suppression, because the problem is people do not go through or they do not experience this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that's why they put in very high pedestal. Once you go through, you will understand, which is very good, but what they talk is not reality. This is the difference I want to make it. So, why not Nirvikalpaka? If the mind is under suppression, anytime it will come back. If the mind is resolved, here Vinas means resolved. So how you can resolve the mind? Only with the help of knowledge. Not with the help of anything. So that is what in Taittiriya Upanishad a lot of points have been talked. Raso Vaisa, that is what, because it has to be resolved without any leftover. Without any residue. That's the most important aspect. And what is the residue? Please understand. The residue cannot be removed by practice. It will be only removed by the knowledge. And what is the residue? That you are a knower. You are a knower. You are a doer. You are an enjoyer. As long as you exist, that long residue exists. So that's why as long as you are a karta, you are a bhukta, you are a pramata, that long mind will be there. Even it will come back on its way. That's why here means vinasa means resolving the sense of knowership, sense of doership, sense of enjoyership. That means you are none other than the totality. The body you happen to have, mind you happen to have, just to continue. So you can have a functional ego. Remember, you can have a functional ego. That's why you don't carry forward anything. Something goes wrong, you shout. In 2 minutes, you behave differently. That's why we say very nicely, balon mata, with this stop. What is functional ego? Balon mata, I hope you remember. In Vajagovindam we had seen, okay? So, what is the life of a Gyani? Like a Bala. Bala means a child. Like a Unmata, like a Pagal. Pagal means mad person. Means the person is mad to one's own self. But is a child, like a child to others. So other can relate with a child very happily, comfortably. So that is called here that when you have this functional ego, you are exactly like a child. Very easy to handle you. There is nothing to carry forward. Yes, no. But at the same time, you enjoy like a mad person. To enjoy does not need anything. So to yourself you mata, whereas for others you are a bala, like a child. That is called here vinas. More of it we'll see tomorrow. Please close your eyes.